After we go.
So, Fearless, again, picks that were picked by the teams in the first game of the series are not available to the said team, so no Skarner for Weibo this time around. I do expect them to ban it, and they did. We'll see the third and final bans for both sides, but IG back on blue side.
Lot of mid lane bans coming out of IG. Now, for those that are wondering, Corki, even though they wanted him to go back towards bot lane, he's still just a mid laner, but AD instead. Xiaohu, no Talia, no LeBlanc, no Corki. And the Twist of Fate for Breathe also taken off the table as well. So what is Xiaohu going to go towards? I think he's really been pinched in this draft, and his champion pool, which has looked good, hasn't really looked that big. First pick for IG coming up. Potential of Rumble potentially on the table too.
Oh, it is the first pick Rumble here, so gonna have to see what Breathe wants to pick into that one at least. But I do wonder now if we continue to get Tarzan trying to take those like aggressive in your face junglers. I wonder if we get his version of the Graves. But the Callista is something that has been let through that I don't think we've seen let through the ban phase like a single time almost. Maybe once, maybe twice as the split has gone on
It's
so far, but there it is.
I was wondering whether they would go towards something like the Callista Ashe. They could go towards hell, even like the Nico support. Callista as an AD carry gives so much ability to supports to play weird stuff and then just get pulled out of fights. Breed's going to go towards another tank. It's the Cassante. I think that RNG in Spring really flourished whenever Breathe was on frontline. I think the Skarner is the strongest frontline on the patch. It makes sense he'd go towards that. Cassante is still very good once that's off the table though. And that'll be easy for them to kind of play through Breathe's preferred style.
We got On's classic Draven here paired up with the Rel for Vampire, so still giving Vampire a lot of engage room, which I think is super big. 200, is it just going to be the Nautilus paired up? I would... Okay, I was going to see if maybe the Renata would slink in, but no, not going to be the case.
I'm surprised at that. I am very surprised at that. Draven Rel, not the strongest lane. Feel like you could slam in an Ashe or something like that and feel very happy about laning phase. I think that when you go Callista Nautilus, you're normally looking at more attack speed Callista, which I don't think is that great now lethal tempo has been removed. You can go towards, you know, the Halo Blades and maybe go towards some more attack speed that way too, but typically it's just gone towards lethality. Much more easy to do that. I suppose Light would also like to go to lethality because there's no tank in top lane either. It's going to be that Rumble. So yeah, I'm surprised that the Nautilus feels counterintuitive to what Weibo have locked in.
So, do we just get full mid lane bans? Here's what I'm trying to guesstimate. Okay. We're going to get the long distance engage taken away from Tarzan. Going to get the Sejuani first and foremost. So maybe more of that jungle focus here in this second phase of bans. But with the way that first game went in the jungle, definitely felt like Tarzan had GLFS's number. It'll be the Aurelion Soul banned away for a second game by Weibo, this time on red side.
Nani, you know, credit to Nani. He's actually done okay considering that he's been role swapped from top side to mid lane in this split so far. He did sub in towards top lane in Spring as well when YSCam was on Asian Games duty as well. So, Weibo, banning away a couple of the champions here to move things back towards that top lane conversation. That combo up very well with that with kind of like the frontline engage kind of comps. I think they would have quite liked the Sejuani or the Maokai themselves, but they don't want to give them over to Weibo on pick 4, and they'd rather just be done with that.
Oh, maybe not the facilitation angle here for Tarzan. They look like they're going to save R5 for jungle pick like that. As it is the Azir for Xiaohu, once known as the Tiger King of Spring. He's trying to change his title to Emperor of Summer.
Yeah, I don't know how... Yeah, I don't know how that one works, buddy. You're going to have to workshop that one a little more. But he's on that Azir, and we did say, hey, what's Xiaohu going to go towards? Feels like the champion pool's been really pinched from him. And then on the other side, oh, I get to have the soapbox. Ahri on the table for IG. And that is going to be very big playmaking now. You can go towards something like the Vibe, potentially.
Can't do that again, GLFS. You can't do it.
You actually physically cannot pick the Viego. It is banned from you, from the global ban failure system. But yeah, looking for a really big combo champion from jungle now. You'd really want something like a Vi that can kind of combo up with the Ahri and also lock down for the Rumble. I don't like the Graves. I don't like this at all. I think that it is not something that combos up well with the Rumble. The entire engage of this team now is dependent on Vampire, who has struggled with that. I think that is a terrible jungle pick for what IG were looking for.
Well, I will give them one thing. there was a big smile from GLFS, and the whole team started laughing. So maybe it's just vibes. Who knows?
Right. Well,
Maybe it doesn't
vibes.
need to work in math. Maybe it just works on vibes.
Vibes.
This is gonna make it really hard to work on
Exactly.
vibes, though. I'm just
It.
gonna say because Ivern is a menace with this composition.
He's like the ultimate vibe killer for IG here, because now you have to get through Daisy as well. You have so little way to get to the backline, to get to your targets. And you're going to have Daisy stood there. You're going to have, even Crisp can hook backwards if he wants. You've got the Cassante pressing W. Like, why would you pick an Ari here if you wanted to pick that Graves? This is such a bad last part of the draft from IG. I think they've completely shot themselves in the foot with a very impotent amount of buckshot from Graves' shotgun.
They were blanks, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not looking like a great draft. I think the sad part is this isn't even a game 3, so it's not like you have the 30 bans from Fearless, like plus the last 10. But we have seen some just like obviously bad drafts in the early 3 days of LPL so
They've
far.
been experimenting with their team compositions, and now we're shooting blanks with GLFS.
Which feels really bad because again, these two guys, the two top lane members, I guess, Zuyan and GLFS for IG, they had a great first game in the LPL in their first series of the split, but it has not looked the same since then.
Now we get ourselves into a game 2 where Weibo, in my opinion, come away with a huge draft win. You need huge early snowball now from IG. You need to break open the game, get yourself some lane leads, and make sure you can just continually roll over the enemy jungle and lanes again and again before their composition comes online. Their timing window in this game is very, very short.
Might be short, but if you hit it sweet, it's going to be just fine. IG with an aggressive bot lane need to make something happen here. On was probably their best member in their first series, so maybe try to make some deja vu happen in that regard. I wonder if there's going to be a late level 1 here. They both have some good level 1 comps, but early grouping here from IG. Not going to go for anything.
Just a confirmation on Kalista build. Press the attack means this will be an attack speed Kalista. It's going to be on hit, not going towards the lethality. Lethal tempo being removed has affected Kalista pretty disproportionately hard, because losing the attack speed, even though the damage can end up being quite similar with the press the attack proc and stuff like that, it means you have less mobility, and it means you just get less Ren stacks as well, which is really important in that one. So really feels like on-hit Kalista is less good, and it is going to be that late level 1, Nautilus level 1 power, and you got the Kalista as well with good level 1 too. Looking to bully out IG from their own side, and that will be the case, and it means that we're likely looking in towards a lane swap.
Also a little thing, Halo Blades there for Xiaohu, so going that style for Azir, and then also his Conqueror for On, so see how that all works out, but maybe a little bit of vertical jungling going on here for Weibo and Tarzan.
And it is going to lead in towards a lane swap. Big thing which came in with some of the patch changes, by the way, has been about duo experience. Because one of the changes that was made after MSI was effectively Riot said that bot laners and junglers were too far behind solo laners coming into mid game. And they wanted to make sure they have just a little bit more experience in levels like 1 to 9 or so. But what that means, because you're sharing experience, means that you can actually leave your top laner to take minions with your duo lane, and they also get that bonus from their extra XP in lane swap scenarios too. So Breathe will come back into the lane when the wave crashes in, and you can get just a little bit more XP than you did in previous lane swap scenarios, in case people are wondering why lane swaps are still around, despite some of the mechanisms being put into place to try and stop them.
And Weibo have really liked lane swaps. They've done it like almost every single game that they've played. So obviously strategy they feel like works well for them. This is a roster that expects to be at the tippy top of the LPL, right? They bring in Tarzan, they trade over RNG with Breathe. They wanted to make the adjustments to make a actual run for a world championship here. So they should be one of the top 2 in this group, and at least that first game shows us that they were a little bit angry that they started off 0-1 on the season. But they will get the plate trade here against IG so far.
And again, bot lane turret, easier to kill on top side, so you're likely to get just a little bit more value out of plates early on. I see that Nanny gonna get Halo Blades
Hail of Blades
yet
goes
again.
nutty, man.
It's nasty. The thing is, Ori's just very strong in these early few levels. Once you get the electrocute and the W procs on cooldown, Nanny actually using that W to farm minions kind of hurts that a little. You want to be using every W cam on the enemy lane opponent to get yourself a HP advantage, even when you don't get to insta-kill minions quickly.
Vampire's waiting. He's like Dracula sitting in the cave.
Nosferatu.
Oh, they gotta not wait for it. Oh no! Best laid plans of mice and men, Nymaera.
Tell him about the what's the guy in Mice and Men say? It's like tell him about the farm. I can't remember the name of the characters, but I remember that one dude being like, tell him about
Lenny
the farm.
and
Lenny, that's the guy. I did this stuff in school and I never read it again. It was good though. I enjoyed it for what it was worth.
Also very sad.
Yeah, it was. It's not a happy book.
That poor puppy.
Yeah. Got any happier topics, or are we just gonna talk about the death of the American dream in literary form, or what?
I think we just let it rest for a little bit. It was kind of funny.
Yeah, pull it out.
Anyway. Dude, I'm so sad that he's gone, man. Like, it's not to say anything about GLFS, but man, anytime you see a player that he was around for a little while but hangs it up.
Yeah.
Anyways, Dragon is coming up about 15 seconds. Would be a first for either one of these teams since we're starting to get those objective focuses, but it is going to be at least GLFS on that side of the map here first.
Yeah. So the grand kind of total of this lane swap is basically nothing in terms of plates. Slight XP advantage for Zoyan actually from IGN towards that top side. And I'm somewhat wondering what the plan was there from Weibo. I feel like the Callista is so good in laning phase, you don't need to avoid that CV2. Don't end up getting too much out of that top lane either. It feels like top laners, yes, I guess they're just lower in gold, so maybe you're just trying to say, let's just stop the Rumble from having quite as an impact on the grand state of the game because they're behind every other lane, despite being okay in the individual matchup. Maybe that was the play, but I don't see huge value out of it. I think we've seen quite a few low-value lane swaps today.
Yeah, and that's what I kind of, like, was foreshadowing too with Weibo, is like they do it all the time. I don't ever know if they've had like a massive lead because of it. Maybe they just get one right here, but actually can't find the CC chain on the Vampire.
Yeah, so that's just going to be again a bit of a nothing burger play. GLFS going to go into enemy Raptors and get himself a healthy protein snack with a bucket of popcorn chicken. Breed doing fine in this matchup here as well. Of course, Rumble pretty okay into the Cassante. I think that you can lose that lane. There are moments where Cassante can get all-ins versus you. And you can see right now that Zone standing beyond the wave. Make sure that Breathe is not getting everything for free.
Gotta have some kind of trade system going. At least, you'd hope. Oh, that Mountain Dragon's getting some damage on the Weibo's members. IG gonna move over after they spot out Tarzan, who had started up. Weibo, maybe just gonna let this one go for now.
Yeah, I think so. Back when Tyler 1 changed over to jungle role, he played a load of Ivern, and there were actually a couple of quotes he had about the champion which have stuck with me on an analytical level. Effectively, if you're ever at a point where you should be smite fighting an objective, Ivern has done something terribly wrong. You should be bullying people out before that time comes through. You can see that Tarzan doesn't have level 6 yet, and they are going towards this, but you really want control over an objective first. This is not the preferred point of an Ivern.
I love that Weibo just wanting to try to fight this one. They end up realizing they're maybe wasting a little bit of time. Letting that one go. Maybe transitioning to the other side of the map with the grubbies up. Somebody's watching some cartoons today. Maybe it's just the fight night on bot side. Vampire, he makes his way out of that one with the flash. The flash is returned on. Looking to cash in. Nobody's going down just yet. Health bars are blinking. Everything's red, but nobody's dead.
Oh, that is so close to a cash-in from Arn. That would have changed so much with this Draven getting a load of extra gold in pocket. But there were 3 targets available. All of them make it out on blinking health bars. It will still be first turret taken here. I don't think there's going to be any defense of this. It should be the full turret going down. So a victory, but the lesser victory rather than the full steamroll through bot side.
That's actually a massive lead with all those plates going the way of On and Vampire. But the fact that Vampire started all that off and made it out alive is actually kind of insane. IG able to keep some hands diffs going with a slight gold advantage early on in this game. We already see pings coming to the top side of the map, as the Telegrubbies will be that next stage of battle.
Yeah, now we will see whether level 6 can be hit for a couple of key members before this point comes through. Chris, about halfway to level 6, same with Tarzan. I don't think either of them are going to be there on the timing mark to get their ultimates for this. GLF's kind of a quick check-in on the farming state between the junglers. Very far ahead of where Tarzan is right now. Last game, of course, we said that we saw how well the Nidalee was playing and just getting up into the enemy jungle. Tarzan's not really managed to get anywhere close to the clear speed of the Graves in this game, so he's a little slower to the punch in terms of those big ticket level marks.
But guess what? He's got the 6th man. It's Daisy coming in. This level 6 has been achieved.
My favorite, this is a bit of a tangent, not totally. My favorite stolen Silas ultimate in the game is actually stealing Ivan's ult. You don't get Daisy, you get Peach, because your ultimate's in another castle. And we have that route towards this bot side as well. Vampire once again making it out there alive. Yeah, just don't react to that, it's fine, we can just leave that.
I like it. No, hey, you gotta laugh out of me.
My two favorite ones are that, and then there's also the Call of the Forgery God, but this one is very, very real, as Vampire once again getting hunted.
We got the depth charge on multiple members, but double TP from IG. They get the kill, but that actually goes to Crisp. Now they get the
the
call
overdive
back in, but IG have actually made the call to keep on fighting, and they're going to pick them clean. Those bones are going to be white as IG, they stream forth with a couple kills of their own.
Left for the carrion birds. Arn is rich. Gets the cash in with about 200 stacks or so. If I last time I saw that one, so we're about where it was. Good amount of gold in pocket. Weber bluntly overdive. They overstayed. They didn't have to go that far. They didn't manage to get the kill onto Arn first. They got onto Vampire. That's fine. It's a kill, but it's an overstay. It allows the Draven to turn it back around. So Weber overzealous there. And we get to see exactly how that happened in this play. It's see that they're sticking around on a pink ward. Do get the level 6. Daisy is here. And the CC is good. The damage is good. But it's onto the aftershocking Rel. It's not really the biggest value. And then the huge teleports coming back from IG. Absolutely down to Brawl. And they walk away with a really solid fight at the end of this. And did you catch the amount of gold which John had there?
I did not.
It was an amount. Several hundred. An amount. I'm going to say about 600, 700 for that one, I think.
I was focusing on the fact that Breathe used his TP topside, and so that just literally made that play happen. Literally, Breathe pulled his TP first. They were both sitting in the base, I think, or at least Zuyan was topside waiting for it. As soon as he TP'd, like a couple seconds later, Zuyan goes for the bot lane
That's
play.
not very good. that's not how you win games of League of Legends.
I was like trying to do mental math, like what happened there to like make that happen? Because that is one of those domino plays where it's like that is the difference maker, right? I think one TP is fine. I think you can pick off a couple more members.
Not charged up just yet. He's looking for it. If he gets the knockback, it potentially would have been in the all-out back in towards Tarzan coming towards him.
Boosters, bro.
Super Galactic Face Breaker or whatever it is.
Dude, that skin is still one of the best.
It is.
Ever.
It's fantastic.
If you ever just
I love that.
superhero lines.
Yeah,
they're great.
Well, I would say so. That skin is like a direct love letter to Gurren Lagann, the huge mech anime, and just all of the lines are exactly that. This is the drill which will pierce the heavens, kind of thing. And yeah, they did a good job at it. It leans into its own jokes. It doesn't take itself too seriously, and it's so much better for it.
All right, so now we're looking at state of game. We got first items completed there for the bot side. We got Bloodthirster first item for On. They have the Malignance for Nenny as well.
That's big.
Weibo trying to keep some safety on bot side though, but Dragon's coming up.
Now, Bloodthirst was changed back to give the Overshield. It's not a crit item anymore, but it gives you a lot of stats, and it gives you that ability to brawl just a little better. Malignance increases the pace of the game, which Nenny wants to play at, but he doesn't have a Dark Seal to do it even better, but they might just play around the items anyway, Chris. Taking a little bit of skill shots, but not that much damage. Hutch comes in and it's onto Draven!
Oh, they got the triple knock up there as well. Odd going down. Light has picked that one up. Dragon goes over to Nenny on his way out. They will end up picking up a double kill for Light, so that's huge, but they lose the Dragon.
How does that hook hit the Draven? That is the one target you can't have obliterated at the start, even through the Bloodthirster shield. Not able to stand up towards that amount of damage. Shahu just putting in some extra damage here onto Nandy too, but Weibo, they needed that fight, and they shut down Draven. Very important moment.
Really huge pickup for them because they were able to cut that lead down to even now.
Forward charm.
Overextended. Yeah, that's a really good charm from Nenny over that Emperor's Divide.
So, getting themselves a bit of a consolation post-dragon kill there. But what happens with this hook, man? I think Vampire has to just stand and take that. I think you just say, look, there's no point me trying to risk whether On has to blow his flash or dodge that. It's just so much better for him to tank up that hook. I feel like that's actually a mistake from Vampire. I understand why, you know, you think you can dodge it. He does dodge it, but you need to make sure that Draven doesn't get caught. So, ends up throwing his AD carry just a little bit under the bus.
All right, IG got all 6 maybe here?
Yeah, they do.
All right, so they got all 6. It is Grubageddon, as we say. And I do wonder if that's actually going to affect how Weibo can play this game out. Even though it's more so going to come down to team fights, it feels like.
Yeah, then going into those team fights, they need to be very aware about where that gold's been pulled. Both these AD carries on good item breakpoints right now, and one of the things about the lane swaps is that it did set these top laners just a little bit behind. They're still at 1 item. We'll see how quickly they get towards that 2nd item and beyond that as well. Gold is even enough. It's 1,000 gold or 14 minutes. Not huge. But once you get up towards 3,000-4,000 gold at this time stamp, that's when it's that's when it's important. As it stands right now, that's not going to be the determining factor. It's on setup, it's on execution. It's about finding that first pick into the fight with something like a good charm, good hook, something to take someone off the board early.
Seems like it's what it's going to come down to for the stylized comp of IG. There is the Rift Herald up now on the other side of the map, though. See if anybody wants to kind of hover around that one. A lot of vision from Weibo around it, but it'll be quickly cleaned out by Vampire if he goes the right way. Get his own vision over there as well. You'll have
Yes.
Tarzan moving out for mid lane, though.
Skillfully avoided both pink wards as he walked into the individual. Yes, all in the grand plan of Vampire.
Oh, they're just going to let this one go, I guess.
Yeah, I guess they are. So, I guess they don't want to engage into vision control on top side. They have some shallow vision in their own jungle, but not really enough around the actual battlefield itself. They have a teleport from Breathe, but Breathe honestly needs to be in the front line. I think Weibo, they really want 2 items, particularly weirdly onto Breathe. I think Breathe, once he hits the 2nd item, he can be very, very tanky in that front line, especially with the redemption and the shields and heals coming in from Tarzan as well. So Weibo, I think they're waiting, biding the time a little bit. Again, the gold's not completely out of things, and that's slow into turn. That's not great for them.
They get the Dredgeline combo. Light can't really get in a range, though, and now Crisp pulled out by the Fate's call.
So that's going to be ult for ult. Flash taken away from Zern as well. So I guess that's even-ish trade, actually. I think losing the Cholesterol on that long cooldown means that Crisp needs to be much more defensive. I think people really forget how important Cholesterol is towards their engaged supports. It's a very long cooldown too. No ability to fight around this Herald now with that. They're coming in for a teleport anyway. I don't know if they want this.
Fight, 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 fight! The Rift Herald's still alive! Okay, it's finally going to go down to GLFS. Now IG trying to fight their way out of this one, but Vampire, he's all alone in the pit, trying to get over the wall, though, with the crash down. Does end up initiating that exit. Although, I don't think he's going to survive.
Yeah.
Throws up the question mark ping there, actually. He's going to run his
he
out.
finally found the control. Oh, he took part in the Herald kill, which means he gets 1 empowered recall, which gets him out to safety. All right, Vampire.
My God.
He manages to slip himself away back towards that base, and it will be a Herald for nothing for IG. I think they'll take that one.
Vampire, smooth moves. Can't believe he actually made it out there, though. But IG finds something for themselves, and they still have a lot of those late game win conditions with the 6 grubs, things like that. They'll have a decent amount of strength there. Still do feel like maybe the scaling will be a little bit back and forth between both teams, though. But we're getting to the point where the team fights are going to be so more important. So how IG approach in those team fights and utilize some of the weird non-front to back that they have is going to be interesting.
Yeah, and this is where the composition... We came out of draft being very, very Weibo favored in terms of the draft. Now, with extra gold and on, that helps, but the engage is still really hard to come by. Everything rests on Vampire getting a really big engage onto an equalizer on top of it, because they don't really have that much CC beyond that point. Have Azir with a Nash's Tooth in a side lane. Very good ability to kill towers. Herald into mid lane, but doesn't kill it. Dragon is up and available. Will be a 3rd one for IG, but Weibo would rather get gold on the board first, and I don't disagree with them. I think they're waiting still a little bit longer before they want to really start team fighting with items behind their backs.
Feels like they have one more they can give. Oh.
Close.
Okay. Tarzan almost just walked in and took that. Meanwhile, topside, there's a tier 2 fight, but IG have taken the fight in the Dragon Pit. Breathe makes it out with a smooth out.
Xiaohu's not coming!
And now they actually get Crisp down. That's a huge advance from Nenny. Xiaohu kills outright Zuyan. But IG have made the play around Dragon, and they get the soul point.
But what are Weibo doing around this Dragon? They aren't going to bring in their Azir, who I think is a really important part of their team composition. And we said they don't have the items yet. Once they get their items, this should be a very easy team fight game for them. But they just kind of blindly walk in towards that Dragon. They are lucky that they get value in that side lane from Xiaohu, getting that tower and getting the kill as well. Really does feel like IG at least get away with something towards that bot side. Importantly so for them. And Soul Point, it's a nice thing to hold over Weibo.
Actually cannot believe Tarzan just decided he would to walk in there like that.
Does he just shuffle him back into his own Azir turret? Yes, he does. Really well played. That's right on the edge of it. Very, very close from Zoran, all the same. Almost gets the kill with the flame splitter. Just very, very close, but all the same. It's an important moment there from Xiaohu. We talked about him in draft. How important is his champion pool going to be? How far does it stretch? The Azir's looking okay there. Around the Dragon, though, you don't have that Azir. And when you have the Draven, you have the Ahri at a point of power as well. Very, very dangerous to fight around that. I'm surprised that Weibo walked up.
Daddy, that flash point blank charm right there on the other side of Tarzan to make sure he could get breathe is actually kind of cool.
Shame he doesn't have a Dark Seal, though. I'm going to just say this again. I say this every game when it comes to the Ahri. Ahri needs to snowball. Dark Seal is one of the best items in the game on Ahri. Hasn't built it up. I think that's a common failing of pro Ahri players. Really well mechanically played, but, you know, you'd be like to be walking away from that fight with more AP in pocket.
Got the Horizon focus now, as well as the second item completed for Xiaohu, so those fisticuff battles are going to get a little bit more crazy. Weibo, they are around this Baron pit.
They have Ivern and they have an Azir with 2 items. They killed Baron.
Blades.
They kill. They kill. Hail Blades doesn't work on Baron, but it only works on enemy champions. But it's very, very good all the same when you've got that Nash Tooth at killing objectives. You can't let this go into Fog of War. IG are walking towards this now, and we get the front-to-back fight we wanted.
That's all they wanted. They just wanted to catch IG unawares. There is the big equalizer, though. I would say it did a pretty damn good job of equalizing. Light just gets the kill
shields!
on the back. He's still alive. Finally gets shut down there by On. They're still fighting. On's in melee range of everybody, but it doesn't matter because Nenny has been the carry the whole time. He's got a quadra kill, and IG have pushed the lead to 3,000.
4 kills in pocket for the 9-tailed fox. Nenny cleans up. The real star of that fight, though, for me, is the equalizer. And the huge damage coming out of that rumble. Felt like that damage was so hard to overcome beyond that point. And Weibo, we said they wanted to be fighting around the 2-item mark. This is just about where they start to come online. But they throw in a very important fight. They're walking up towards the Baron, but I don't know whether they can continue this. Who else can get here in time? No one really. Crisp has an Ignite, and that's about it.
Crisp, my man, he just outright ignites him. Oh my god, Weibo, you're gonna come in and clean this one up. Zuyan and the rest, GLFS will get that Baron, but here comes the rest of Weibo to get some revenge. They will take out one of those purple gleaming capes, but IG have done the damage.
And so we'll go down. That's 2 Baron buffs gone. Importantly for the side of IG, they'll have 3 left. They'll have the ability to push out 1, maybe 2 pushing lanes, but here we go back to this big fight. Crisp goes in, but where's the damage beyond this point? Huge, huge equalizer comes in here, though. Look at that. Manages to get right onto Xiaohu, burns his combo, gets right onto the Kalista as well. Because the Azir doesn't have the mobility beyond this point, Nenny then gets to force the Zhonya's for free. This is the combination of the solo laners, making sure that the backline of Weibo don't get to stand and fight, which really runs this fight.
That Emperor's Divide left wanting there from Xiaohu for sure. Nenny is taking control of this one. He's almost on 3 items now as well. They only have about a 3k lead, just a little bit more than that, but they need to keep the tempo up as we have another Dragon coming up. Yeah. And this one could be IG's soul.
And again, Weibo have a really good front-to-back fight. It's hard for IG to land their combo. If they do get a good equalizer, if they manage to force Azir to use his combo and force Kalista to team fight differently too, if she's tagged with the slow from the equalizer too, can make things very, very difficult. IG don't care about the Dragon right now. They're pushing down towards mid lane. They have themselves the Baron buff. It's going to take that mid lane inner turret at least, while Weibo are going to just accept a consolation on the Baron, on the Dragon rather.
They might still try to contest this. GLFS is around the corner here. They actually have Vampire in a flank. Weibo feeling a little bit dicey. Dragons get pretty healthy as time goes on.
We get ourselves towards, again, the front to back being set up. Now, you do have shields coming in from Weibo. That will help them tank this up longer. Vampire still unseen. He has that flash and the blast cone!
Here comes the entrance, but he gets denied right out of it. Here goes the dragon, though. It goes to GLFS, and that's the soul. Xiaohu with the flank. He doesn't do much. He's completely focused down. Nenny gets out by himself. Xiaohu not so lucky. IG, they're fighting tooth and nail, and they're bringing Weibo to the brink. Vampire gets engaged on. Vampire's down. Light needs to get the distance away from this composition, but Nenny has found another flank. Nenny can't hit a single ability, and Light takes his life from him, but joins him in the grave. And IG are giving us a game.
Oh my gosh, the dragon fight works out so well for IG, but Xiaohu completely ints his engage. He doesn't hit the targets he wants to, and then he ends up left alone in the backline. Poorly timed, poorly executed from the mid laner of Weibo. That could have been, again, one of those big 5v5s they've been looking for. That time the Rumble Equalizer didn't become the game-changing play. Watch as this happens again. Xiaohu, he separates from the team. He tries to bring the backline to him. This is one of the problems of trying to play Rel into K'Sante. He just presses W. Lots of different ways to get him out of that one. His engage isn't great. Look at this. This engage from Xiaohu does not catch on and then immediately turns around on him. So that's one of the carries gone. Light gets enough damage onto himself from Nani to be in a very difficult position too. Feels like Weibo really struggling to get both of their backliners into a position to do the damage they should be doing at this point in the game.
And I'll just say, Breathe all out at Nenny and brought him close to the wall so he could flash out over the wall and make it out alive. I know he died in the end, but I don't know if there is a good place to ult like that from Breathe, because I think either way he has exits over the wall. But man, it's just some lack of coordination with the team composition. And we see that ran rampant in their first series, now kind of rearing its ugly head here in a second game of this series. IG, they're crossing T's, dotting I's, the capital one for IG. And they actually have this tier 2 under siege with those 6 grubs that they got themselves so long ago.
Yeah, and they're going to be really pushing him with a lot of damage onto towers. Graves slaughters towers with this build. Lethality affects towers too, remember, folks. And Weibo, they're just looking for once to get their carries into a good position. That's going to be the equalizer right on top of the Azir's head. It's going to take him down to half HP.
Rolling Death comes back, does a little bit more on top of it as well. Looks like IG will just do the damage, walk away. They didn't get the inhib turret, but they did a decent amount. And find themselves 5,000 gold up.
A lot of that gold is in the jungle, of course. This Graves has been farming up a storm, hugely far ahead in terms of farm and in terms of XP. It feels like Weibo are really struggling to get to a point where they can, again, play through this very good front-to-back composition. IG have so much gold now that it might just break it up in general. We might have hit that break point where, even though we're getting towards late game on a lot of very good scaling carries away, but it might just not matter. The weight of the gold.
What is the Ivern supposed to do here for this comp?
He summons Daisy, and then he walks backwards. I mean, the thing is, you can put some shields on Breathe. It's okay. The Redemption's okay. I think it's... In this point, with this amount of gold, the value which Ivern gets from a second shield in the fight doesn't really get seen, because people die before the second shield comes out. That's really what ends up determining a lot of the value of Ivern in the bigger fights. We have to see Weibo survive through the initial engage, so the Ivern's second round of cooldowns gets value.
Moonstone Renewer did get completed there. We'll see the engage from Vampire, though, and they have so much damage on this top side. Equalizer comes out, too. They've already claimed Crisp's life. Meanwhile, Vampire goes a little bit too ham there. Does end up dying. It is a 1-for-1.
Good all out.
Supports trading their lives.
Good all out. Brings that Vampire over the wall, which leaves him completely out of lurch. So at least it's a 1-for-1. And again, that stalls the game. I think that's what everything that Weibo are looking for right now. Just buy themselves a bit more time. Get themselves a death cap on Xiaohu. I think Xiaohu also might need a Banshee spell as well. Not going to lie. I think the amount of magic damage he's taking is very high. Light already has the Hex Drinker. That will help as well. He's also looking to get a Terminus, it looks like, as his next item beyond that, potentially. Once those are completed, Weibo are in a much better position, so their backline doesn't get burst out as hard. They're not contesting this Baron, though. That's going to go down, and Weibo are in full turtle shell mode. They are looking to just try and get as much gold as they can before IG try and swing shut the jaws of the Baron push.
Problem is, though, Elder Dragon is going to be spawning in 1 minute and 30 seconds, so they don't really have much more time to scale up, because that could just be the death knell see if they can get a little bit more on the map beforehand. Maybe try to get that Rabadons completed for Xiaohu, but it's just the item differential right now that's really going to make the biggest difference, right? Like, you're almost on full items for On already.
Yeah, and that's going to be really important when you're trying to kill through this Cassante on 2 items, you know? Like, it's very, very different when you look at just those differential between how long can this front line survive. The answer is probably too short for Weibo's liking. So, Weibo, can they go towards this this dragon, rather? A minute left on that spawner. I don't think they're going to be able to even get themselves that many wards down there. Weibo, they are full stalling, man. I think they just realized they need themselves that extra item in inventory.
How much time can their base hold out? Minion wave on bot side, still taking a little bit to get here for IG. There's that Rabadons.
More built up the line as well, importantly. So they have themselves 2 really big item completions there. Is it enough, though? IG, very far ahead in terms of gold.
Those mites do a lot. I'm just saying. Oh, On flashing out there. We have Nenny coming in from mid lane. He was trying to keep that push going. The Baron up here will help IG set up for the Dragon. Dragon spawning in 10 seconds, Nymaera.
Yeah,
you're going to have to force something.
You can see that Chris, with his own W shield there, a Titan's Wrath, and then also the Ivan shield as well, can face check pretty well. That gives them something. Of course, you break shields with the Rel if that Q does get us the right point, and that's a hook!
Oh! Okay, Nenny burns the Spirit Rush there. There is also the Equalizer.
That's important. Equalizer down is important, but the Elder's taken before the Weibo can capitalize on it. So, once again, Weibo giving up the big objective, just saying, right, we are going for as much gold as possible. Yeah, just trying to buy as much time. You can see that already that Equalizer is not doing nearly as much as it was 5 minutes ago beyond this point. The extra magic resist, the locket coming in from Chris, the shields as well. It's meaning that Equalizer is not really turning the fights in the way that it could.
You know what does, though? The Elder Dragon buff.
That's true. You are technically correct, yes. Now they...
Result-based analysis.
But they only get that for 3 minutes, so we will see exactly how much they can get out of that one, or whether Weibo can just continually wave clear for forever. The Azir, very, very good at that. And of course, the Ivern Bushes also give some extra ability to hold the lane well.
And then it just becomes about turtle fighting against IG over and over again and finding a way to win it. We do see actually some potions being picked up, at least by GLFS there. As the Wrath Potion buff, I believe, because he's all red.
That's the one, yep.
I do see... Okay, they're just going to go full on for the mid lane. I thought they were going to keep Nenny in top side, but they definitely do not do that. We have the Daisy application of mid lane siege, but it doesn't matter because this turret is not going to last for very long, Nymaera.
Yeah, 6 grubs makes things a bit problematic. Graves ult coming out for poke as well. Xiaohu wants to back off because, again, that Elder buff, you cannot really afford to disrespect that one. Wave clear is the name of the game for Weibo. They want to time out this Elder buff for as long as possible.
Nenny taking a lot of health damage there. You just see, as soon as the execute bar comes up, you're like, oh no. All right, so they'll get a second inhib, Vampire goes for it. They know they have the buff. They can go for it here. 2 executions will tee it off. And they might just go for the home run here. Bring us to 3 games. They need minion waves, though. And here comes the mid wave. They're going for the turret. No, the charm connects on the light, but it's the turrets that they came for. It's the game differential that they came for. And they will not go quietly as we got a series on our hands.
And despite the difficulty of IG's draft to play, they end up closing the game around the Elder. It felt like Weibo eventually, at some point in that game, would have gotten to the point where they could team fight, but they couldn't do it against the Elder. That Elder buff couldn't get wasted enough by the side of Weibo, and IG